Let's tune the guitar with a tuner. This particular type of tuner is a clip-on type. There's some where you just put them on a table and you would tune it then. The advantage to these clip-on type tuners is most of them can actually hear through a little microphone that's on the front, or as this one's adjusted to or set to, is it actually feels the vibration of the guitar so that you can actually teach a lesson and tune the guitar at the same time, and it's not going to hear me, it's only going to feel the vibrations of the guitar. And or if you're playing, say, a noisy music hall or something like that, and the crowd's screaming your name, then you could use this as opposed to the kind that sit on the table when you're tuning and it's trying to hear the guitar. Okay? Important to know when you're tuning a guitar, the string names, E, A, D, G, B, E. Because, for instance, if I go to pluck this first string, which should be an E, and it's showing up as a D sharp, and I'm trying to get this little gauge here to be right there in the center, well, if I do that, that's great, but D sharp is not what I'm going for. So unless I'm tuning the guitar a half step down, that's technically in tune, but it's in tune to a D sharp. We want an E because this note is tuned to an E. So D sharp is lower than an E, so we're going up in the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, like that sort of thing. And so if this is a D sharp, we want to tune up. You're going to see it go up here and then start over on the other side. Now it's an E because it just went as sharp as it could for the D sharp before it turned into an E, a low E. And so what we're trying to do is get that little gauge there to be right in the center. That's what we want right there. Okay, it's a little flat, but a little sharp. That's what we want, okay? And I like to pluck continuously like that because it lets the tuner be able to hear the pitch throughout, and it doesn't affect the tuner, okay? All right, so let's try an A now. So E, A. And notice that this is an A sharp. It's a low A sharp, but it's an A sharp, so we need to go lower because sharp, A sharp, is higher than A. So we need to bring it down a pitch. So there's a high A now. So I'm at an A, but here's a little ninja trick that I'm going to show you about tuning. When you have a note and you're tuning down to your target note, if you don't stretch the string out, it's going to go out of tune. I'll show you here. So I just tuned this straight down from an A sharp to an A. And now watch this. I'm going to stretch the string just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to tuck my first finger underneath it and just give it a little tug. And now if I pluck that A again, look at how flat that is. Nearly a quarter of a step flat. So I'm going to bring it up. Okay, so if you're tuning, so the lesson here is, if you're tuning, if this is your target note and this is where your note is at, okay, so this note's lower, this note's higher, if this is your target note, you want to tune the note past your target note, stretch it like I did, and then bring it back up to pitch. Okay, if you were to just bring it to here, then the next time the string gets bumped or something, it's going to drop it. The reason being is that there should be an even amount of pull across the guitar string. And what happens is when you're tuning down to a note, there'll be a lot of pull between the bridge and the nut, and then maybe more slack in this area. And if it's not even across it, then the next time the guitar gets bumped or you're jamming out or something like that, it's going to pull that string out of pitch. Okay? So sometimes I'll do it when I'm pulling when I'm going from a lower note to a higher note, just to make sure there's no slack in the string. But always when I'm going from a lower note or a higher note to a lower note, I always give the string a little stretch before pulling it up to pitch. Okay, so now we have a C sharp, okay, and we want an E, A, D, right? So C sharp is below a D, so we need to bring it up in pitch. So I'm going to tighten it, and you can see that's a high C sharp right there. It's going to come around the other side to a D. Now we're at a D, and we want to bring it up to a D. Okay, now I'll give this a little stretch just in case. We'll see if it puts it out of tune. So it did. It brought it out of tune just a little bit. But that's a little ninja trick there, stretching the strings. I've seen a lot of great guitar players not even know how to do that. So it's a real simple technique that will save your guitar from going out of tune a lot. Okay, so E, A, D, G. So we're going to try the G now. And it's saying an F sharp, right, which is below a G. It's a half step below it, and it's saying it's a high F sharp. So let's sharpen that to get it to the G. So now it's a low G. Need to keep bringing it around until it gets right in the center. And that's what we want. Now we have our G. So I'm going to stretch that string. It's fine. Typically it's not a problem if you're going from a lower note to a higher note. It's the higher note to lower note that you have to stretch that string for sure. Okay, E, A, D, G, B. We're going to do the B string now. And it's saying it's a C. So here I go. I'm going to tune it down. You hear that little ticking noise. That's the string settling. And the B strings are notorious for that. And so now if I don't stretch that string, it looks like it's in tune, but if I give it a little tug, look at how flat it went. I didn't touch the tuner here. So now that I've stretched it out, now I pulled all that tension out. That little ticking noise that you're hearing is the string settling. But usually when you're pulling it up from a lower pitch, it's fine. It's when you're going from a higher pitch that's the problem. Okay, high E. Flat, so it's a flat E, so meaning it's flattened, not an E flat, but a lower E. Remember, to flatten something means to bring it down in pitch. So in this case, it's just a slightly flatter E than we're wanting. So we're going to bring it up to pitch. Now we're in pitch. I'm going to give it just a little stretch just in case. Okay, so now we should be good. So when I'm done tuning, I usually hit a few chords just to make sure that my calculations were right and it sounds good when I'm playing a chord, because obviously we're here to play music, not tune guitars, but tuning the guitar helps us to play nice music. Okay, so hit a few chords afterwards, make sure they're in tune. If they're not, investigate a little further. Sometimes you might have to compensate a little bit, where if a note's perfectly tuned with one chord and then flatten another one, you may want to adjust that note to be a little bit off on both chords so that one chord doesn't sound really bad. Okay. More about tuning later, but this is a skill that does take some time. Don't be frustrated if it takes you 15 minutes the first time. It's a great skill to know and to get good at, because an untuned guitar in the hands of a great guitar player is still not going to sound very good. So take your time with this. You're going to get better and better at it, and it's so important to play in tune. So always tune that guitar.